What, you want to get rid of me? Why, because I'm old? You hate teachers? Is that what you're about?
No.
Okay, well, teachers like to play too. And not only am I going to play, I'm El Capitano. And what I say goes, so put your hands over your hearts. I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the band.
to the band
Of Mr. Schneebly.
of Mr. Schneebly,
And will not fight him.
and will not fight him
For creative control.
for creative control,
And will defer to him on all issues related to the musical direction of the band.
and will defer to the direction of the band.
Let's get rockin'!
Welcome back, everybody, to the Film Bros Podcast. My name is Isaiah Lucas, and I'm joined by my co-hosts.
Abraham.
And Nick.
How you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good.
I'm feeling good.
Good. I'm
Feeling
glad to
very
hear that.
nostalgic again.
Bro, always with a movie like this.
I love coming back to movies like this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
me too.
and figuring out that they still hold up
Yeah.
is my favorite.
I think
feeling.
that's the sweet part of this movie.
Yeah,
Like-
and I think another thing that works so well with this movie is even considering when it was made, it feels like it hasn't really aged.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
I feel like I feel like if you added a little bit more detail, maybe.
I guess for you saying from like the way that the movie actually like looks.
Yeah.
I mean from like
Just how-
costume design, how well it's written,
True.
like
Yeah,
the
I
types
see
of
that.
cars and stuff that are used.
This is
and
the
things
thing.
like that. Like
When I think of this movie, I don't think of how much it's aged. I think of how much
I aged.
I've
Yeah.
oh,
aged.
it's true.
Because they're like segments of my life that this movie has been in.
Yeah.
And one of the most recent ones, I was in high school, and they were like, it's a school project. One of your assignments is to create a video of something that has to do related to the school. And I was like, okay, well, what can I do? So I interviewed a bunch of people about school lunches, and the background music I used, My Brain is Hanging Upside Down by the Ramones, because of this movie.
Oh, really?
Because of this movie. I learned about that song with that montage in this movie, and I was like, that's so cool. So I played it, and then I got copyright strike.
That always happens with YouTube. Dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's been around my whole life.
Nice. It's crazy to think that this movie is like 20 years old now, too.
Yeah, 20.
Came out in 2003.
2003.
Crazy. None of us watched it in theaters, right?
No, of
No.
course not.
No, this was a rent for me whenever Blockbuster was a thing.
I think I saw this on like Nickelodeon one night.
Had
Like,
to
I
have
don't
been.
remember when I saw this for the first time. I'm not gonna lie.
I cannot remember
But I
when.
do remember watching it multiple times.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you the first time I watched it either, but
No.
this is one that's been constant throughout my childhood as
Yeah.
well.
It was on a rotation. It was a rotation for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how often after I watched the movie I would be saying, "So get off your ass and let's do some math." Like like all the time.
Yes. Yeah, Jack Black. Can we just take a moment to talk about Jack Black?
Yeah.
He's the GOAT.
He's the
He's
GOAT,
GOAT.
isn't he? Like, I feel like he is so charismatic and yet so wholesome.
Yeah.
I don't know how he strikes that balance so nicely.
Yeah.
He's like this zany. He almost is like an airhead kind of guy, but he's got this sense of sophistication underneath, like sense of like genuineness about him. I get that from this movie. I get that from Kung Fu Panda. I get that from a lot of his movies. Nacho
Yeah.
Libre.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great, dude.
Yeah.
He is awesome.
Yeah. There's nothing to not like about him.
No.
He strikes all the boxes. in
He's
a
like
person.
he's like everybody's uncle.
He
Yeah.
is. The
Like-
cool uncle.
Yeah, he's like America's uncle that like your dad sees and he's just like, "Oh, there's Uncle Jack." You know, like he's in the corner listening to Black Sabbath
Yeah.
and being like, "Oh, what's up, dude?" like like
He's like got
and
his
you're-
own little world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
I used to skate, and he'd be like, I could throw football better
Yeah.
than anybody here.
Yeah. All that stuff.
I freaking love it.
So what movie are we talking about today, Abe?
We're talking about the 2003 movie School of Rock. It was directed by Richard Linklater and written by Mike White.
Which is crazy.
bl-
That combo is wild to me. Richard Linklater, who would do the Before trilogy, and like movies like Dazed and Confused, and Slacker, and like all these movies that are like huge and like critically acclaimed.
Mm-hmm.
And then he comes out and is just like,
Let me
I'm
drop
gonna do a kids movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's still great.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that quality of like throughout the ages that he normally does, like with Boyhood
Mhm.
and with the Before trilogy. But it's so good.
Yeah.
You never know.
The structure of it is great.
Yeah. And then Mike White, writes the movie, stars in it,
Schneebly.
and then would go on to make and direct movies, shows like The White Lotus that like everyone talks about now.
Pretty
Yeah.
crazy.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
All
wild.
because of School of Rock. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about this movie though, man.
Me
It's
too.
it's a trip down memory lane, that's for sure.
100%.
And I've got like so many memories with like just songs that are played in this movie.
Mhm.
Like anytime I think of Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin,
Yeah.
I think of Jack Black driving down the van going doing that. But then I also remember a time where I stayed the night at my Uncle Jimmy's, and that man woke me up blaring that song on
Really?
his home system that he had. I remember I stayed the night one time, and he
Dude.
woke me up, and all I hear is boom, and I was like, what the heck is going on? And then he bursts into the
Being
room.
drafted.
Yeah, he's burst into the room and is like doing the same thing as Jack Black, screaming and singing the songs and being like, "Get up, we're making breakfast."
Yeah.
Like there's just so many things throughout this movie that just I hold near and dear to my heart. Where I'm like, man, I didn't know it, but that was like formative for me. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Very true.
So what's this movie about, Abe?
This movie is about a guy who believes or is a rock star and is struggling to find.
The limelight.
the-
He's pursuing the rock star
Yeah,
lifestyle.
he's pursuing the rock. Yeah, exactly how you said it. The rock star lifestyle, and he's just struggling to find his. What would you call it? His light, I guess. Like
Mhm.
to get his kickstart into his life and make
Yeah.
everything. So he's kind of like couch hopping, and he lives with his best friend, Ned Schleebly,
Mhm.
and who is like a teacher, and basically this guy answers it, who obviously is not Ned. His name is Dewey Finn, and basically acts like he's Ned and becomes a teacher without thinking, basically, and makes the school rock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and basically his whole MO is there's this battle of the bands thing that's coming up, and if you win $20,000.
$20K.
Yeah, and like there's tons of things you could do with that money. You can, hopefully get some recording time and start, recording an album, land a record deal because of the exposure of this thing and all
Mhm.
this stuff. And so he's holding out hope, thinking that he'll be able to win this battle of the bands. And his idea, once he comes to find out that the kids that he's subbing for are musically talented,
He's like,
is
all right.
let's get a band together with these kids and let's try to win this battle of the bands type
Mhm.
thing. So it's a fun movie. It's wholly entertaining and surprisingly wholesome
Yeah.
as well. Like I watched this and was just like, man, I forgot like how wholesome this is and like how charming it is to watch Jack Black like get down on these kids' levels and be like, hey, like, you're just as important to this band as me, and
Mhm.
like we need you up there. Like I understand you might be insecure or shy or something like that, but once people hear you're in a band, dude, they're gonna think you're the bee's knees. Like, and it's just him speaking life into these kids and letting them come out of their shell and all this stuff, and
Mhm.
recognizing that school doesn't always have to be just about like being by the book or anything like that. You can stick it to the man.
Yeah, I was about to say,
You know?
sticking it to the man. That's what rock's all about, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm excited to talk about it with you guys. It is currently streaming on Paramount Plus.
Yes.
So if you have that streaming platform, pull it up there and take a walk down memory lane with us. Or if you haven't seen it yet, we recommend checking it out because it is a great movie. And we're also going to get into spoilers. So if you care about that type of stuff, there are going to be spoilers ahead. Pause it and come back if you want. Or if you don't care, continue listening. But as always, we'll go ahead and start with our first favorite scene.
And actually, my favorite scene is a little bit into the movie. It's actually not the opening, so if anybody has the opening, you're more than welcome to take it.
I was thinking, I don't have the intro. Do you?
No. My
Okay.
first favorite scene is whenever Dewey's talking about the man.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, was that when he starts to recruit all the kids for...
Yeah,
or was that
it's-
a little bit
it's-
before that?
It's a little bit before
It
because
is, it
he
is.
starts getting pissed
It-
about everything that's going
Like,
on. Just give up.
Yeah.
And she like comes in and then he goes, "Okay, everyone go out to music class and
Yes.
we'll see you in a little bit." And that's when he finds out like, oh,
These kids got...
these kids can play music.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Actually, my first is getting the phone call for the job.
okay.
And so basically, Dewey is at home
Yeah.
alone.
He's a freeloader
Yeah.
is what it is.
He's literally living on the couch. And
He's like self-proclaimed too. Like he's like, dude, I've been mooching off you for years, and now because your girlfriend is telling you to do something, you feel the need to say that you need rent from me.
Yeah, I thought that was a funny... Because usually it's like, they want him out of there.
Yeah.
But Ned's fine with it.
Yeah.
Ned is like, hey, I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's only until freaking Sarah Silverman comes
Yeah.
in and is like,
Get him out.
dude, her voice is so like irritating in this movie, and it's so iconic too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't get it out.
Yeah.
so basically, so he's staying there, and again, like I said, where he's staying, his best friend Ned is a sub, and a school calls the house.
Temp.
A temp. The school calls the house looking for Ned, offering him a job, and Dewey answers it, and he is like trying to get this information because the teacher's like in a time crunch, like it's an emergency, and he's like, "Well, how much do I get?" And it just makes me laugh. Like that was just making me laugh. Like, how much do I get paid? Trying to get things, and then she goes, "If you could just leave him a message." He goes, "I think he just walked in," and all you hear is like something whatever. And he goes, "Hello, this is Ned sleeping." And
Dude, I can't tell you how often I did that.
really?
Like
Like you were
that-
pretending to pass
hearing
the
that
phone around
technique, seeing that, going
with the cord.
like it. I never would have thought of that, and then I saw it as a kid, and I was like, that makes so much sense. And I'd try to like act like I was somebody else or something on the phone and get people sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So he does that, and he acts like Ned and accepts the job. And I really love that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my favorite one too.
Okay. Yeah, mine is after he's been on the job for a couple of days. And he's starting to get like real discouraged at this point and starts talking about the man. And if you don't know, the man is Principal Mullins. The man is the Fuzz. The man is the people who are trying to bring you down and stuff like that, and you know, oppress you and keep you in line and all of this stuff. And Dewey starts going on this rant where he's like telling, like, it's a really pessimistic rant and like kind of nihilistic, where he's just like, you want to get anywhere in life, just give up. Like, there's no point, because the man is gonna do what he wants you to do, and he's gonna make you do what he wants you to do and all this stuff. And there's no point in trying or being original or anything like that, or doing anything creative, because the man is going to tell you it's of no worth.
Yeah.
And that, you know, there's no point in doing it because it doesn't contribute to society or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's so funny, him like just laying into these kids and telling them about sticking it to the man, and they just have no idea what he's talking about, and him being like, the only way that you can get out of that is to stick it to the man. And you used to be able to do that with a little thing called rock and roll. And, you know, he's just going on and on about how you can stick it to the man and who is the man. And right as he's like getting into a big, you know, flurry of it and starting to yell a little bit and raise his voice, he goes like, you can't do anything about it, so just give up. And right as he says that, Principal Mullins walks in the door.
He's like, oh.
And yeah, she's like, I was just coming over here to let you guys know that music is starting in 5 minutes and the kids need to be over there. And so he's like, okay, I will see you guys in 15 minutes then, and we'll see you later. So they all leave, and eventually he kind of gets curious and wanders over to the music room and sees like I think it's
He sees them all.
he sees them all. He sees Freddie playing percussion and Lawrence playing the piano.
Dude, he's
crazy.
killing it.
Yeah.
He's killing it on there.
I'm forgetting the girl's name. She's playing cello. And the kid's name playing the guitar. Zach, he's playing the guitar. And he sees that and he starts doing the little eyebrow thing.
Like he's got like a
yeah.
like he's concocting a plan. And
Yeah,
he's
it's like
"Ooh,
the-
these kids can
like
play."
the worm with his eyebrows.
Yeah.
And eventually it just cuts to him going to his van and he's like grabbing instruments.
I love this. Dude.
And he's just, guitars, drums,
Piano.
keyboards, bass, amps, all this stuff. And right as the kids come back, he's got it all set up and he's like in the middle of the room strumming his guitar.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Hey, what's going on? How come you guys didn't tell me you could play instruments?
Yeah.
What's going on? Why didn't you tell me?" And everyone is like, "What's happening?" And he eventually starts to lie and say like, "There's a school project going on that the entire state is competing in.
Mhm.
And I wasn't supposed to prepare you guys for until next quarter, but I figure, let's try to get a leg up on the competition. So let's focus on trying to win this competition. And what we need to do is basically come up with an original song and, come up with a band and play with one another." And I just love watching him like pick everybody out and having them start jamming.
Mhm.
And like, it's just fun watching him be like, "Zach, come up here. You ever play the electric guitar?" And he goes, "No, my dad won't let me."
Yeah.
And he's like, he's like, my dad says it's a waste of time. And he goes, "What?" And he, gives him a guitar and he goes, "Okay, tell me if you can do this." And he, does the Highway to Hell, the
Mhm.
da-da-da, 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 da-da-da.
And he does it. He goes, "Da-da-da."
Yeah. Da-da-da. Oh, da-da-da. Like, I love it.
He's like getting passionate.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love it. And like him even doing the Smoke on the Water, the boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
He makes him copy it, and the entire time he's just like, "Yes, you're perfect. Stay here."
Yes.
And then he, calls Lawrence up.
I
And he
love
was
this
like,
one.
He's like, "Come on up here," and you didn't tell me you could play the piano. And
Uh-huh.
he goes up there, and he was like,
You played
"Play
it
this
ten-
for me."
The fifth one.
Yeah,
Third. Not the third.
yeah,
Dun, 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 dun. And
Yeah.
he starts to sing the. What song is it?
it's
I
by
forget.
the Doors.
Yes, but
And he goes, "Now touch me, babe.
Da, da,
Da-da-da.
can't you see? Yes.
I'm da-da-da-da-da. Shaka-taka.
Yeah. Lawrence can play piano.
He'll be rocking in my show."
Yes.
Like, I love it. And then I even love too whenever he calls Freddie up. He's playing the drums, and he is like, "Can you give me a little bit of a roll, do a bit of fill?" And he like goes crazy, and he's like, "Whoa, okay, great, you're perfect." And then brings up the girl to play the bass.
The cello.
Yeah, and he goes, "Do you know how to play bass?" And she's like, "No." And he says, "Well, what was that big thing you were playing in there?" And she goes, "The cello." He says, "Okay, well, this is kind of the same thing, but flip it over on its side, and cello, you got a bass." And he goes, "Okay, put this on. This is a
Dun,
G
dun,
right
dun,
here.
dun,
Give me
dun, dun."
G's." He goes, "G, G, 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 G,
I
G,
love it,
G,
dude.
G, G." And then, starts jamming, and he goes, "Freddie, do this on the drums for me." Dunk, 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 dunk. And then he's like, "No, that's too George of the Jungle. Do it on the cymbals here." Tick, 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 tick. So then they start doing it there, and then he starts, boom, 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 boom.
It sounds
And
so cool.
yeah, everyone's just going in, playing, and everyone's just jamming, having a fun time. And it's one of those things where like I've been lucky enough to be a part of a couple of jam sessions in my life where like you just feel everybody like vibing off one another, and you're just kind of like, "This is fun.
It's
This is
working."
sick. We're making something right now. This is great." And I could feel that in that room with those kids. It's just a fun time.
Yeah. I love this scene because the scenes before that, he says, he the first time he gets in there when the principal leaves, he's like, "Who's got the food? I'm hungry." He takes the food from that
Freaking
kid.
takes what's her name?
Tamika.
Tamika's sandwich.
Yeah.
He's like,
And it-
"I know one of you guys got food in here. Who's got it?
I'm
I'm
gonna get in
give it to me."
trouble. He
Dude,
takes
he
it.
has a bite out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. But he's like this kind of, he's just there for the money, not caring about the students at all, just letting them have recess. And they're like bored out of their mind, not knowing what to do. And all he's waiting for is the time to go.
Yeah.
And he's this
Like,
real
Like, I love it too. Sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Like, right when 5 o'clock hits, he's like, "We did it. Come on. I'll see you guys tomorrow." And like, doesn't even wait for them to leave or anything.
Like he's super excited to pump it out of there.
yeah,
Exactly. He was excited to leave, and then once he notices that they have talent, or that it starts off as like, oh, how can I use them? But as time goes on, he grows to care about them, really understand them. But it's that like now he's gonna be a present teacher in these kids' life. Now he's gonna be like caring about them, and that like juxtaposition I thought was really nice because it really shows the kind of character this guy has,
yeah,
which I love, and it kind of sets up the whole movie. This is the vibe it's gonna be. It's gonna be a charismatic teacher trying to get these people to play into a band,
yeah.
and I loved it.
Me too. What's next?
My next favorite scene was when he sang his song that he made up.
The Legend of the Rent.
Yeah,
I love this part. This is my next
Yeah,
one too.
it's iconic.
it's iconic.
The legend of the rent was way hardcore.
I don't know the song like you guys do, but I love. It's just they're like trying. Zach is pressuring him to sing a song because they ask him, "What are we gonna sing at the school project?" And he goes, "Well, I got that covered, the song that I wrote on my own." And Zach was like, "Well, let's hear it.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know what I'm gonna play." And so he goes and he's just making it. You could tell it's up on his
Yeah,
head.
he's like, "You want to hear some of my song?"
He's like,
"I got it right here."
I just wrote it down, but it's a work in progress.
yeah,
And he just plugs in his little amp and
He's got that. Little
I love that little
little
thing.
pocket amp.
And starts singing his song. And
Yeah.
I love it.
I love it too.
Yeah, this is iconic.
Dude, it's
For
so
me.
iconic when he's like, and the fog rolls in.
Yeah,
In his heart he knew. And he goes into
yeah.
freaking love it. And it's all relating to his real like his real situation.
Yeah,
And yet it still sounds like an
the ancient
epic.
times,
Yes. There was a it's
there
like
was a man who knew the road.
yes.
Like,
It's like this ancient epic tale. And
Yeah.
yet it's him literally
Yeah.
trying to pay his rent.
yeah,
But to these kids, it sounds epic, and he's like laying it out like I'm there with my guitar and the light's shining on me, and they end up doing similar things at the very end of the movie too,
Yeah.
which I just freaking love.
yeah,
And he rocks it.
yeah.
He rocks it. And he's like, I love too when he always goes into these solos and he goes,
It's the same solo almost
you know
every
what I'm
time.
talking about?
Yeah, yeah. I love to whenever he goes, he starts getting into it and starts going, "How can you kick me out of what is mine?"
Yes.
Starts freaking out and he goes, boom! Explosions everywhere, confetti coming down, everyone's just going crazy. I'm thinking it's probably gonna go something like that, and then all the kids are kind of like, "All right, great! I can't wait to hear when it's finished." Like, yeah,
Absolute classic of a scene, man.
I love it. Yeah, I have to say too, you kind of hitting on Jack Black's like scatting throughout this movie and just his improvisation of like
Yes.
solos and making up stuff on the fly. Like it all feels so candid. Like it feels like this was not written.
Mhm.
Like in some of the parts where they're making up songs and he's making stuff up off the rip or scatting a solo or something like that. Like it just feels like this is from the mind of Jack Black.
Yes.
And like everyone else is just like letting him do his thing.
Mhm.
And I love that.
Yeah. It feels very fluid,
Yeah.
especially throughout that whole scene,
Mm-hmm.
because he's like pulling up stuff, getting on top of the desks, doing all that kind of crazy, like he's doing at the intro when he's on the floor, going like seizing. It looks like he's got that same character all throughout.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. My next favorite scene is the Miss Mullins red alert scene. Whenever she comes in and she's like, Miss Lemon said that she could hear music.
Oh, about singing the math
Yeah.
is a wonderful thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I have one before that, if we can talk real quick,
Yeah,
and
hit
it's
it.
when they get on the bill, when they went to go audition for the
For the Battle of the Bands.
Battle of the Bands, and they
Bro.
didn't get on it, and Miranda Cosgrove's character, I think her name is Samantha
Summer.
Summer, excuse me. I'm assuming comes up with it 'cause she's the one that tells him like, "Hey, come here real quick," and basically tells Jack Black's character to go lie to these people, the judges, and be
Yeah.
like,
They're terminal.
"They're terminally ill."
Freddie's like on the floor dead, dude.
They're ill kids. And basically, I told them that I'll get them here to perform,
Yeah.
and this is our last hope. And they come out, and he goes, you're dead. And they go
Yeah.
back on like you said, Fred goes back on the floor.
Yeah.
It was super
They
funny.
gotta stick it to the man.
Stick it to the maniosis. I even
Oh,
love
I've
this
never heard
scene.
about that.
This scene too. Whenever we kind of see like Dewey's kind of teacher parental side come out with Freddy,
Yeah.
That's
and
true.
he like really starts to take him in as his own, and is like, you don't want to hang out with these guys. Those guys are posers. You know,
Mhm.
those guys think that rock and roll is all about drinking and smoking and stuff like that, but that's not what it's about.
Mhm.
You don't need to hang out with them just because you think that they're cool. And like even Freddy calls him out a bit, and he's like, "Dude, you sound like my mom." And he's like, "I'm just telling you, you know, you don't need to hang around those people. Those guys are fake.
Mhm.
Like what we're doing here is real rock and roll, and you just need to, you know, stick with that and not try to, you know, follow what you think it might be, because that's not it."
Mm.
And yeah, he kind of, you know, takes him under his wing a little bit and gives him a stern talking to.
Mhm.
But yeah, from there is my next favorite scene, whenever they're, you know, jamming, doing whatever it is that they're doing. And one of the kids, who is like security detail, is like looking at the computers in the hallways on screen.
On their like little Macs, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, "We got Mullins, red alert." And so everyone's like, "Okay, put all the instruments away and all this stuff." So they start like sliding them into closets and all this stuff, and putting their chairs back and everything. And she kind of makes her way into the classroom and is like, "Hey, I just wanted to come by and see what's going on." Miss Lemons says that she could hear music next door.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite in this whole scene is Jack Black's character responds with, "Miss Lemons must be on crack, right, kids?"
I think even if a kid had said that, you'd get in trouble.
Yes.
I was dying laughing at that. And then, you know, she ends up seeing that there's a guitar
Mhm.
in the corner of the room, and she's like, "Oh yeah, there's no music coming from here. What's going on?" And she goes, "Oh, what's that?" And she sees his guitar there, and he goes, "Oh, that must be what she's talking about. You know, I had this way of trying to teach the kids something. It's, you know, a very experimental method that I learned when I was getting my degree and all this stuff. So,
Stupid.
you know, we try to help them learn through music, and it helps them remember better and all this stuff." And she goes, "Huh, okay." And she's like, "Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to sit in on this to kind of see where it is that you're going." And he goes, "Okay, yeah, you know, come back sometime in the afternoon, and we'll get you in here." And he's like, "It is the afternoon." And he's all, "Right, okay, all right, well, yeah, let's do this. Let's get you in here." So he straps the guitar on and just starts making a song up on the fly.
Mhm.
And he's, you know, strumming his guitar and going, "Math is a beautiful thing. Math is a wonderful thing.
Yes.
So let's get off your ass and let's do some math." Like, that to me as a kid was hilarious.
Yes.
And like, this is one of the most memorable scenes for me. Like, when he's like plucking the guitar and going, 4 times 4 is, Zach, 8. And he
Mhm.
goes, "Okay, perfect. And 1,000,000,000 times 1,000,000,000 is 2,000,000,000. And then he like, I think he points to Samantha, who's the blonde girl. Is that her name?
Yeah, her name is Marta, I think.
Oh, Marta.
Martha. Samantha's Miranda Cosgrove's character.
Summer.
No, that's Summer.
Some-
You got me on the Samantha kick.
Yes.
Who's Samantha then?
Nobody, I don't think.
The blonde girl, Marta, who
Yes.
he ends up calling Blondie as her nickname. He asks her
Blondie? Blondie.
Yeah, he asks her some question, and she goes, 9. And then he goes, "No, it's 8.
And she
She
goes
goes,
back.
"No, it's 9. He goes, "Yes, I was just testing you. It's 9. And that's a magic number."
I'm like, what?
Yeah, that whole scene is just iconic to me
It
as
is.
well. And when you tell me, when I hear School of Rock, I think of that scene and the jamming scenes
Mhm.
and everything I have listed in
Bro.
favorite scenes.
You can't forget.
Dude, I say that all the time. Step off. Because of this movie.
Yeah. I love that whole scene too.
That's a really good scene.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I think it's because he notices when Zach gets out of the car, he's getting kind of berated by his dad, saying like, "You got to do your chores, and there's no music after. You got to do all your homework and chores first, and no
then
more of
guitar
that
later."
crap."
Yeah.
You know, it's basically just the classical music you're going back to, and he can kind of notice even before that too. He notices Zach is not real. Like he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" He goes, "Yeah, it's all right." He goes, "Just all right." Like he's noticing there's this like sadness or like, you know, he's being held back by something, and he realizes that it's the dad or it's the parents. So when he gets in there, he starts to like really hype him up. He's like, "Okay, we're gonna create something right now." And he's like, "Tell me what really ticks you off." And he's talking to all the people. He's like, "Come on, what would you?" Or no, he asks them, "What's rock all about?"
Yeah.
And it's about sticking it to the man. And he's like, "And right now, I'm the man."
Yeah.
And he tells them all to like, they all tell him off, and then he goes, "All right, we're gonna make a song," and that's funny.
That's where we get the iconic "You're tacky and I hate you."
Yes, even the more.
He's like, "You're fat." You're like, they start calling him fat. and all
No,
this
my
stuff.
favorite quotes is from the piano guy. He goes, "You're a fat loser and you have body odor." Tell me that's not the most like out of pocket insult ever.
Seriously.
But he's taking it, and then he's really hyping these kids up, and he goes, "Tell me what really ticks you off." And one person says chores. And he's like, "I had to do my chores today, and now I'm really ticked off." And then, you know, he goes through, gets no money, no allowance, and he's going through and bullying.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's really, like, telling all the kids, like, "This is how you make a rock song." And then he goes, What do you do when a bully gets up in your face and he's yelling at you and he's pushing you around?
What would you say?
What would you tell this guy?" And Zach is like, I don't know. And he's like, "Really? What would you tell him?" Like and Zach goes, "I don't know. Step off." And he goes, "Step out, step out," and he's like really going into it.
Yeah.
And he gets the whole class to just be like, "Step out."
Yeah.
And it just feels so like overcoming. You know,
Yeah,
it feels
I love
great.
it. He even like breaks into a whole verse where he's like, "Something I might turn to a robot."
Yeah.
Like he starts, you know, just going on to this whole thing and then goes back to "So step out." And then everyone is joining in and he just starts going crazy, going, you know, just like making a big old fool of himself. Everyone's laughing, having a good old time. But in that moment too, he's like teaching them something incredibly important as well. Like not only to just voice your frustrations, maybe through music or, you know, being able to get that stuff out there in the open, but also like finding ways to deal with conflict and how to deal with those emotions and, you know, whether that be getting them out creatively or, you know, just talking to somebody about them.
Yeah, giving them an outlet to express themselves, I think, as well. These kids seem very, I mean, if you take a look at the principal, a lot of the school is running based off the principal, and the principal is real stuck up, real tight, real strict to the code, you know, like a robot. She is the man.
Yeah.
So I like
By
how
her words.
Yeah,
Her words.
not ours.
I didn't
Hers.
say anything.
She's a big one.
Yeah.
But I think that's what they're accustomed to. I mean, they're in a really prestigious school. This is kind of they're regimented, and he's kind of breaking them out of that a little bit, showing them that, you know, what rock is really about. Like, is about like not conforming, not being a part of it, you know, and kind of making it your own. And I really like that. You know, he's sitting eating his lunch around with all the other teachers, and Zach comes up to him and he's like, "Hey, I really like that lesson today. Like, I appreciated it."
Yeah, and that was honestly one of the wholesome moments in this movie, because honestly, I feel like kids will remember a lot of when a teacher did something so significant, and that could have, for him, he was probably having a crappy day.
Yeah.
And that teacher just made it better for him, him to just even make him feel comfortable in that time. Like, so that when Isaiah said, like, it was surprisingly wholesome, was like, yeah, like, I see that now, and I'm like, dude, that's precious.
Yeah.
Like,
It's specialized. I mean, he noticed this small detail, and he cared enough to, like, involve the class, to hype it up, to really, like, show that he cared, but not in a very, like, "Hey, let me take you aside and talk to you about it." You know, it's more like a dynamic movement that he might not even have known that, like, he was directing this lesson towards him. He was just like, "Yeah, I felt heard during this," and that's, like, good enough.
yeah.
And that's, like, so sick as a teacher, I feel like that would be the coolest like moment in
Yeah.
your careers, is just seeing kids respond like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're reminding me of another wholesome moment whenever it's a little earlier into the film. Whenever Lawrence comes up to
Yes.
him in the cafeteria and is like, I don't think I want to be in the band.
Yeah.
And he's like, why? Like, why wouldn't you want to do that? Be in the band? You've got talent. And Lawrence ends up saying, like, I'm not cool enough.
Nobody
and, like,
talks to
people
me.
don't talk to me. And he's like, are you serious? Like, just because people don't do that right now doesn't mean that they won't whenever they find out that you're in a band.
Mhm.
Like, once people find out you're in a band, they're gonna think you're so cool.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have people always wanting to talk to you because
pajamas.
yeah, you're gonna be and he starts saying you're gonna be the bee's knees. And I always love he's like, bee's knees? When he responds and he goes, yeah, man, everyone's gonna think you're so cool. You're gonna have all these people wanting to talk to you and all this stuff. I think you're great at what you do. You're essential to the band. So I just ask that you stay. And he's like, okay, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, all right, bring it in here. They do this like whole made up handshake and they're doing it. He goes, okay, all right, bring it in here. Dap it, slide
Sloop
it, do all
kaboot it.
Yeah. And he goes, give me this. Let's rock today.
Now
All right,
you do
your
it.
turn. Let's rock today. And he goes, we'll work on that a little bit later. It's a little long, but I'll talk to you later when we get in class.
Yeah.
So
Another
That's what I'm
wholesome,
saying.
wholesome
Like,
moment.
yeah, that is another wholesome movie, and it just reminds me of like the cool moments that I had with my teachers too.
yeah.
I even think about the scene with Tamika too.
Yeah,
When
whenever
she-
he finds out she can sing.
Yeah, that was crazy too, because at first I don't remember what she was gonna be.
She was
She
gonna
was
be
gonna
a
be-
groupie.
I think she was going to
Nurse.
be security.
Was she really?
Yeah.
And all the class leaves, and she stays behind and is like, "Hey,
She's like, I don't want to do this. I want to be a singer.
and she's got to sing for him.
Yeah.
So she does, and he's like, "Why didn't you tell me you had the pipes?"
Yeah.
So she's in the band, but it's when
When they're going to audition for Battle of the Bands.
yeah, she starts to be like, I don't think I can do this. I'm nervous to go on stage, and I think she's really self
She's-
conscious.
Yeah, about her weight.
About her
and
weight.
that people are going to make fun of her and all this stuff.
And he again is this wholesome guy. He says like, doesn't matter. I like you look at all these people who have weight and who
Yeah.
are like incredibly talented and incredibly influential. And then he goes, and just look at me.
Yeah.
Like I've got some weight and yeah, I like food. And he's just like he's really validating her is what he's doing and making her feel seen.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
And it's just so good, man.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Like I love when teachers can do this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's part of the movie that I think sticks with me the most is the wholesome moments. Not only the comedy, but just the heart of it as well.
Yeah,
Same.
100%.
Good stuff.
That just leads me to like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole Battle of the Bands sequence, the end credits, all that stuff.
100% from the kids picking him up from his house
All the way to.
all the way to through the end credits.
Yeah,
I
it's
love.
because it switches. It really switches. Because this whole time, he's been pouring into these kids. I mean, I didn't talk about it, but the Ramones, Brandon's Hanging Upside Down montage, he's going through, he's showing, like, it's the montage of, like,
It's him like showing everything to the class, but even like specializing it for certain kids.
Like
Like
he's-
showing Freddie like
The-
certain drummers and how to pull out techniques
Yeah.
and stuff and everything, and then showing Zach certain guitarists and the way
Yes.
that they act on stage, and like being just super inclusive to not only the whole class but also like breathing into each and every one of these kids and being
Yes.
like, these are the guys. This is rock.
That's what that montage shows, him pouring out.
Yeah.
And then now that he's outed, the kids are now pouring into him.
Yeah.
Which I just love. It
Yeah.
feels like such a natural arc for this movie.
Yeah.
Flowing back into, he's like knocked out on his sofa, couch, bed looking thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, get up. We got to go. We didn't work this hard for this long to not do it.
Yeah.
So get up. And he gets up, gets in the freaking bus. And they're not even, like, they know. I think they just felt so seen that they didn't care who he was. They just cared that they knew how much he cared.
Yeah.
So they were like, yeah, you can do your whole apology later. We don't got time. Let's go.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love when they get there and they're like an actual cohesive band.
Yeah.
And
I even love that they decide to do Zach's song.
Oh, that's so wholesome too.
Yeah. Like, and they were like, okay, like, what song are we going to play? And they start saying like, oh, we're obviously going to play yours. It's the one we practice the most. And he says, no, I think it's only right that we do Zach's. And they're like, but we didn't practice that one enough. And he says, doesn't matter.
We didn't come here to win. We're here to put
Yeah,
on a
we
good
didn't
show.
come here to win. We came here to play.
Dude, and then he tells the guy, the kids with the lights, he goes, well, what about the light show? And he goes, you'll feel it.
Yeah.
And dude,
Yeah.
You know the song, you can do it, and he kills it.
Yeah.
we see the best concert.
Yeah. This is the scene. This is, I think, just my overall favorite scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Battle of the Bands.
It reminds me a lot of the SpongeBob episode when they're
I'm a goofy goober.
no, when they're doing the
Oh,
Oh,
my
the
God.
Super Bowl.
The mayonnaise is an instrument episode.
Yeah,
So-
doesn't it feel like that? Like it's the
thrill of one more.
Dude.
the last one. It's got the same
Man.
plot, just in the 30-minute or 15-minute episode.
That's that episode is so iconic, to
Isn't
me,
it?
man. Like anytime I see it, it puts a smile on my face when I hear well, the worst of it.
And you see
like
the guys,
Mr. Krabs and Plankton going like just doing all this crazy stuff.
I always
Like I freaking love that episode. It's
I
so
always laugh
funny.
about the opposite football people in the
Grab
stand.
each other with the lighters.
And then, and it's free. And they're just
Sweet
crying,
victory.
right? It's so good.
Yeah, I love it.
I
Yeah.
love that you think of that episode.
That's why I love this so much. It reminds me of that. Is that same feeling of like, this is all that they've been working forward to, and it's good. It's
Yeah.
actually good. Like, you get the whole scene that he laid out earlier. The
The one singular light
Yeah,
on
and it's
him,
just-
the smoke coming in around his feet, doing the ding 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 ding.
bow, bow, bow. And it's like all the band just coming together.
Yeah.
It is so good. And it's also got that like level of tension as well, because all the parents are like, oh, our kids are gone. Where are our kids?
Yeah.
So they're coming and they're in the crowd like trying to get their kids, but then they're hearing what they're doing and they're like, oh, hold on.
My kid can do
Yeah,
this?
my kid can do this. This is crazy. And then parents are starting to look at other kids and be like, yo, your kid is talented. Yo, yours is too.
Yeah.
Like this is wild. I didn't know that this could happen or this was going on. It's crazy.
Yeah, and they start
Yeah.
getting involved. I don't know. I just think it's a perfect blend of everything.
Yeah, I feel like it was like, I think that's a perfect way to put it as well. I think it was a perfect blend of stress and enjoyment.
Yeah.
Because you could literally go to each side and be like, oh shoot, what are the parents gonna do? Oh shoot, what are the kids gonna do? But it's so good.
hmm
So
I will say it is a brum moment when we find out that they end up not winning.
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
Because as cliched as the movie is, you would think like, oh, they gotta win,
Mhm.
right? But they take a left turn there, and they're like, oh, the band that actually wins is the one that Dewey was in beforehand. He got kicked out of,
Yeah.
and Dewey gets all pissed off and is like, Ari, what are you kidding me? They don't care, blah blah blah.
They didn't listen to the music.
Yeah, and then all the kids kind of have to talk him down, and it was like, hey, remember, like you said, it wasn't about winning. We went out there and we played, and everyone just starts going, School of Rock, School of Rock.
Oh, it's so good.
And then he's like, they want us to do an encore.
Yeah.
Let's
That's
go
like-
out there.
I know nowadays is like you go to a concert and it's almost expected for an encore.
Yeah.
Like I've only ever been to a few, but it feels like it's required almost.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Does that ever feel like that to you?
I've been to shows where it doesn't happen, but then I've also been to shows where the crowd is loud enough
Really?
to where they come back out and they do a couple more.
Okay,
Really?
good.
Yeah, like
Good.
I think of the Joyce Manor show we went to where everyone just kept saying, one more song,
Dude.
one more song. And then like they came out and did 3 more.
Yeah.
Or like I the same thing with Charlie Crockett. Like, his band was all gone. Everyone left. And then everyone just kept going, one more song. And he came out by himself
Really?
and was like, all right, I'll just do a couple songs, just me and my guitar right here for you guys. And like, it's always a great feeling.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what it feels like when everyone in a room is like being like, encore, encore.
Doesn't
just
it feel
wanting
like
more.
a win?
Yeah.
It feels like a win.
Yeah.
A better win than the money.
It does, because now you're getting a chance to do what you love.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
getting to play the music, and it's not about the money anymore. It's about, doing what you love.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Absolute perfect way to end this film.
yeah. And then from there, they start playing A Long Way to the Top by AC/DC.
Mhm.
And them playing that goes into the end where we find out now Dewey and Ned opened up like an after-school program called School of Rock where people can come and just, not only learn how to play guitar or rock music or anything like that, but then also, jam with one another and just have a place to hang out and play music.
Yeah.
And that takes us through all the end credits where we just watched these kids just sitting in the living room jamming out, playing It's a Long Way to the Top if you want to rock and roll.
Yeah, I feel like the directors just straight up said, all right, man, we're going to film you. You got like 5 minutes for the credits. Fill it with whatever.
Yeah.
Because he straight up goes, he's like, all right, I don't want to hear anything else, anything at all, but the gut-wrenching solo from Freddie. And then
Yeah.
Freddie's like,
Yeah.
and like he has like a solo for each one of them. And
Yeah.
it just feels so, like you said, candid, like real in the moment, fluid, which
Yeah.
is what I love. And he's like, how are we going to fill this time? Let's just jam and have a good time.
Yeah.
You do a solo. You do a solo.
Yeah.
You copy me.
Yeah.
And then has that girl singing over the credits, a little meta commentary there. It's good. And it makes me stay to the credits.
Yeah.
it
I think it's
does.
a really funny way to get you invested, not only in the film that's going on, but you get to see the names. A lot of
Yeah.
times people skip past that.
Yeah.
But these people worked on it. They
Yeah.
deserve some of the credit.
Yeah. And I'm intrigued the entire time because I'm just smiling ear to ear watching these kids and Jack Black's just singing, "It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll." Like, it's just a great time overall.
Absolutely fantastic ending.
Yeah. I agree. Any other favorite scenes we didn't hit on?
That's it for me.
Me as well.
All right. Well, let's get into some best quotes.
All right.
My first one that I died laughing at was when on his first day on the job, Dewey comes in and Freddie says something to where it's kind of like smart alecky, like a backhanded comment or something, and Dewey looks at him and says, "Okay, what was your name, real quick?" And he goes, "Freddie Jones," and he goes, "Freddie Jones, shut up." I just died laughing at that part.
Yes. I love that. My first favorite quote is when he first gets onto the scene and he's talking to the principal. She's like, "How does this all work?" And she goes, "Oh, this is how it works, blah, blah, blah." And he goes, "Okay, well, I've got no problem smacking them in the head if they get rowdy." And she goes, "Oh, no, we don't do corporal punishment here." And he goes, "Okay, so just verbal abuse then?" And he's going like, I laughed hard.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Another one for me is Dewey. I think he's talking to Summer in this context, where she says something about grades, and he goes on this whole rant about like gold stars and Damaris. He like rips up that poster, and she says something where she said like, "Oh, but you said you don't believe in grades," and he says, "Of course I believe in grades. I was just testing you, and guess what? You passed." And it's just another cute little quote there.
Yeah.
I love when Tamika goes and tells Dewey why not he's on a diet. She goes, "Why aren't you on a diet?" And he goes, "I like to eat. Is that illegal?" And that's me all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The iconic one, "You're tacky and I hate you."
You're
See me
tacky
after
and I
class.
hate you.
Yeah.
See me after class.
Yeah. The
You're a
last
fat
one that I have
loser.
here is from one of the kids that works security detail, and Miss Mullins is walking by, and he goes, "Miss Mullins, you're the man." And then she goes, they're all, then she's all, "Thank you," and walks away.
Oh,
Yeah.
and it's right after she tells Freddie that he was out of dress code.
Yeah.
True. My last one is when he's getting caught up by the police and he's at the school presentation. The family, all the parents are there, and the police come in. They're like, "What the heck's going on?" He goes, "You're right. I'm not a licensed teacher." Where does it come here? He goes, "And no, I'm not a licensed teacher, but I have been touched by your kids, and I'm pretty sure that I've touched them." And everyone's like,
Yeah. They start freaking out and going,
like, we understood what he meant, but they didn't.
yeah.
And it kills me every time.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
All right. If that's it for the best quotes, let's move into bro moments. My first one is Stewie stage diving to nobody.
Yeah. Just flopping on the floor.
Yeah.
Dude.
Would you ever stage dive?
I've done that exact thing that he did. I went and saw The Garden at Strummers, and
Landed on the floor.
dude, everyone was stage diving, all this stuff, and I was pretty close to the stage. And if you've never been to Strummers, it's just this tiny room, and there is no barricade. The stage is maybe like 3 feet high, and you could just climb on it, jump off, do whatever you want. And the show that I was at was particularly rowdy, and they started playing a song. I remember it's still a Cell Stay Clean, and I was like, dude, this song gets me hyped. Like, I'm a stage dive, I've never done it before. Like, I'm scared, and I'm a big guy. Like, I'm 6'3".
You're tall as heck, man.
I'm 6'3". I weigh 205 pounds. Like, and I got up there, and the way that it worked too was like I got up, I looked at the band, which is just, it's 2 twin brothers, and when I got up there, I was like, man, you guys are tall. Like, you guys are like as tall as me. It's crazy. And then I looked out to the crowd, and I seen people looking at me, and I went like this. I went pointed at him, and a couple guys just went like this, and I went and jumped with my back to them, and then all I felt was people's heads on my back and then fall straight to concrete. And like, oh dude, it hurt so bad. Like, my tailbone was just crying. Afterward, I just laid there for a couple seconds, and everyone was like, yo, are you okay? I didn't know you were gonna jump and all this stuff. And I said, I looked at you. And they were like,
you betrayed me.
Yeah, and I was like, are you okay? And they got me up, and then I got back into it and was just having a good old time.
Yeah, I don't think I'd do it. I'm glad you went on your back, because I feel like people kind of get grabby.
Oh yeah.
I'm not trying to get like manhandled on my stuff.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I wouldn't on the
Yeah.
front.
I don't think I could ever trust someone to throw myself.
You're the lightest person in the world, dude. They'd be
That doesn't
2
mean
fingers.
that doesn't mean they're gonna catch me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You gotta say, catch me.
Yeah, it was tough. That's needless to say, I don't stage dive anymore.
Yeah.
Moshing only. So
Just freaking.
yeah.
Moshing scares me, bro.
You gotta take the glasses off for that one.
Yep. So you know you have a good time though.
True.
Another bro moment for me was when Dewey took Tamika's sandwich.
Yeah.
Like, he just grabbed it and was like, "Oh, thank you." Like, just eating in front of her, just hilarious.
No care in the world, man.
Yeah.
When they started forming the band and he was just giving out names and jobs to the kids, dude, he was saying some random names to them, and I'd be like, that is kind of bad. That is.
Doesn't he call him? He calls her tuna sub, right?
Yeah, like
Isn't that her
bruh.
nickname or
Something
something?
like that.
Or turkey sub or something. I know it's a food. I know it's the food that he took from her.
Yeah.
Like Fancy Pants, Carrot Top, Roadrunner, Turkey Sub,
Turkey sub.
Yeah.
Tough Guy, Shortstop. Like, he just gives them random names.
Yeah, nicknames.
Yeah. And what I saw too, I guess that's all actually from Jack Black.
Yeah, so I have a fact about that, which was he thought of all the nicknames for the kids.
Okay. Makes
Works
sense.
totally well.
That's why I feel so candid.
Mm-hmm.
Another bro moment for me is there's a small scene whenever Dewey is putting up posters with his like number on it, and it says like, Dewey, I want you to rock, and all this stuff, and he's trying to get people to form a band with him, and these 2 guys see his flyer and they're like, dude, oh, have you seen this guy? This guy sucks. He's the worst. And they they take a number and they're like, call him, dude. They're leaving, and the camera slowly pans over and you see that Dewey is like right next to them putting up another flyer and kind of hears everything that they said about him. It sucks.
Yeah, gotta be a kick in the pride right there.
Yeah, definitely.
A bro moment when Ned finally sticks up for himself and closes the door on her to go to the show.
Yeah.
Felt good.
Dude,
Yes.
heck yeah.
Felt great.
Dude, Teacher's Night was wild.
Oh, yeah. With the whole, I've been touched by your kids.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, like, before that, too, just having, when he explains what are they doing to
Oh,
the
dude.
parents. and,
Math, science,
like,
Latin, math. Did I say that? Like, the worst.
And the principal being like, I want you to go with me. Like, I feel some kind of way with you. Like, I don't know.
Well, that leads me to a bro moment before that when he takes her to get coffee.
Oh,
Bruh,
yeah. I love this
basically-
whole scene,
Dude, this
too.
is the first time I heard the song.
Sounds like she's singing, ooh, baby, ooh,
She's like, "Are you sure there's no coffee on the menu?" Comes out with 2 big beer. And she's this like little like kind of stuck up, kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't belong here.
I've never been to this part of town. Like, yeah.
And then the song gets on. She's getting loose. She's
It was
drinking the
funny, too,
beer.
yeah.
Yeah.
She barely sips on it and acts like she chokes on it, and then when he goes and walks away, she's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starts loosening up a bit. And,
He knows the Stevie Nicks. When she
Yeah.
hears that, she's going down.
yeah.
That and then when I like too whenever he's like singing on the way home and she's like, "Can you please stop that?"
Yeah.
Like the beer's worn off or whatever.
Yeah.
And she kind of opens up as well. She's like, "You have to be this much of a B word
Yeah.
because I'm in a high position, and if anything happens with the parents, the nuke goes off and I got to
Yeah.
deal with it."
Mm-hmm.
And it just shows her like also kind of being stuck.
well, because
Yeah.
she explains why, and she's a principal at this like very
Prep school.
prep
Yeah.
school, like, and it's just they pay money, and
Mm-hmm.
so she feels like she has to be like that. And she even says it like, I can't be this fun teacher that I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be,
Mm-hmm.
which sucks.
Yeah. My last bro moment, other than the ones that we've already talked about throughout favorite scenes and stuff, is during the Battle of the Bands sequence when we see the band that Dewey was kicked out of in their performance.
It's a pretty good song too.
They're all, "Hey, Omer,
Yeah.
I'm hot sick." It reminds me of like Creed.
Yeah.
But seeing the guy that replaced Dewey, Spider,
Dude,
wearing
what-
that like just like shoulder
What is
straps,
that
I
thing?
saw what he was wearing. I was like, "What is that?" And then he's like going like doing this like body roll thing
Yeah.
with the guitar. I was like, "What is he doing, dude? What the heck?"
Dude, even when he goes and kind of hits on the principal too, and he's got did you see it said sex right there? And he's going like, touching it.
No, I didn't.
She's like, "Is it hot in here?" Or
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a whole bro moment for me too.
Good
That's
stuff.
it for me.
Yeah, the last one for me was the kids dipping on their own when they were in class.
Mm. What about when the kid said, "Kick some"?
Oh, yeah. It's
Good
great.
for them.
I thought whenever I heard that as a kid, I was like, "They
Yeah.
said it."
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
That was crazy to me. But
Anything
now I'm
else?
like, yeah. Nope, that's it.
All right. That's it. Let's move into facts with the bros.
Yeah, let me hit you with the budget real quick. And to make this movie, it took $35 million to make this movie. Opening weekend, it made $19.6 million. Gross for U.S. and Canada was $81.2 million, and gross worldwide was $131.1 million.
Let's go.
So it made his
That's-
money for sure.
Let's
Almost
go.
double, almost 100%. No, more than 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah.
it's awesome.
Absolute awesome. I thought it was something that was really cool. So we talked about Richard Linklater. He is in this film. You might not have seen it or expected it. So throughout the film, we get the knowledge that Ned was in a band, and I don't remember what the band was called.
Maggot death.
It was like Maggot Death.
Some random.
And he's like, "Come on, I know you want to rock. You still got it in you." And he holds up the picture of them in Maggot Death. And the third guy over is Richard Linklater.
Yeah,
He's in the picture, all dressed up.
it's crazy. I did not know that.
Me neither.
Another one that I thought was pretty interesting. The idea for this movie actually came about whenever Mike White, who plays Ned Schneebly, moved into an apartment next to Jack Black. And White would often find Jack Black running around naked through the halls and blasting music that was featured a lot in this movie at full volume. And because of that experience, he decided that he was going to write this movie and got inspired by it.
That's cool.
That just sounds so much like Jack Black.
Yeah.
I just read this one, and I think this is pretty cool, so I don't know if you guys have this one down. But during the course of the movie, Jack Black switches the part of his hair from left to right, depending on whether he's Dewey Finn or playing Ned Schneebly.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's kind of cool.
I did not know that. I just knew because when he rocked, it kind of went all crazy. So I was
Mhm.
like, oh, whatever.
Huh.
Just fixing it.
That's cool.
Interesting.
Interesting stuff.
Another one that I have here is actually in regards to the character Lawrence, and the guy that played him. His name is Robert. I'm probably going to butcher his last name. I want to say, or Say. Not entirely sure. But early on in filming, Robert at the time was very insecure, as his character is in the film. And he ended up approaching Richard Linklater and tried to talk him out of letting him be in the movie because he felt he wasn't right for the role.
Oh wow.
And Linklater responded that it was his very insecurity that made him exactly right for the role. And fittingly, Robert's character ends up having the same conversation with Dewey, and they kind of get this, moment where they're like, okay, actually, I'll do it then if that's what's fitting. And like even in real life, Robert had a moment with somebody like that who spoke life into him and is like, this is actually what we want. You're perfect for it. Like, and he got to have that moment as a character, but also in real life.
That is sweet.
Yeah.
The wholesomeness don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
I have this. I read this one and it made me like laugh, and that's why I looked at you, because I feel like you will remember it. But it says Jack Black's improvised song "Math is a Wonderful Thing" ends with him singing about the number 9, saying that's a magic number.
It's a magic number.
That's a reference to Schoolhouse Rock cartoon.
Schoolhouse Rock.
3 is the magic number. You remember Schoolhouse Rock?
Because 3, it's a magic number.
Schoolhouse Rock also did Conjunction Junction.
What's your function? Oh wow! Holy crap!
Yeah.
What about the one where I'm just a bill
Yeah, the Bill of
sitting
Rights.
on Capitol Hill?
Yeah.
Is that one too?
I think they did the same thing.
Wow.
They did the preamble too.
Yeah.
We the people
in order to
form a more perfect union.
Dude, that will never leave my brain.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Schoolhouse Rock, yeah.
Okay, good stuff. I thought it was funny. So they're all actually playing their instruments. All of them are playing their real instruments. The only time I don't think they do is when they do the solos, the actual good crazy fingerwork stuff. But they're really playing their instruments. So when you see Freddie on the drums,
Hitting cymbals and drums and stuff.
That's cool.
It corresponds.
it does.
You can tell.
Yes.
Like, I think of a movie like this where you can actually tell they're hitting the instruments and playing. And then a movie like La Bamba,
Yeah.
where, like, you can tell, like, you can tell freaking. Yeah, he's going, and like, stuff's happening in the song, and he's not hitting the right parts and all this stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, Richard Linklater only agreed to direct it if the kids actually played their own instruments,
that's great.
which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, I think probably another reason as to why the movie continues to age well is because it looks like they're actually playing. It's because they are.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the last one that I had actually was an original draft of the script. They ended up taking this part out. I kind of think it would have been funny if they left it in, but Dewey was, I guess, supposed to run over the teacher before he came to school, which is initially what was going to stop her from being at school for 3 weeks.
That's because you got ran
Because
over.
she got ran over by him. But they ended up changing it last minute to her falling down in the shower. And so that's how Dewey ends up coming to get the job instead of him running her over with the van.
I can see why they would come up with that idea, though. It's kind of like a full circle type thing.
Yeah.
Maybe he did it on accident, or maybe he did it on purpose.
Who knows?
Who knows? I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah.
That's funny, though.
That's it for facts for me, though.
Yeah, me as well. I'm
Yeah,
done.
that's it for me.
All right. If that's it, what didn't work for this movie?
I mean, it's hard for me to say. I know that the believability of this is not really what they're aiming for,
Yeah.
and I definitely don't hold that against them. I can see some people being like, "Well, this is like the most horrible message. Some random person can come in and be a teacher and not care about any of the real stuff like math and it's kind of like you're really reading the movie wrong."
Yeah.
But I could see some people going there. And even, like, there's only one thing that kind of rubs me a little raw. Like, he's literally about to get arrested, and then he runs out with his guitars, and then everything's fine.
Yeah, the cop is nowhere.
I just wish there was a more smooth way to get out of that situation rather than just be like, all right, he's running? Now forget.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't hold it against the movie hardly at all.
Yeah. I agree.
You guys have anything?
That was the only thing I had noticed where I was like, it felt a little too easy for him to get away.
Yeah,
Like, I kind of maybe wish like they showed like somewhat of a struggle or like
Or maybe him getting bailed?
him like juking out the cop or yeah, even getting bailed out or something like that as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But other than that, I don't have anything for what didn't work. This movie is pure entertainment.
Yeah, everything works.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy to say that.
He said everything works.
Everything works, man.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things that I have for what did work is that this movie is just nothing but entertaining.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the entire time. There is never a lull in the story.
Mm-mm.
There is never a moment where I'm not laughing or smiling.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the entire runtime, I think the movie's about like an hour and a half, hour 45.
Yeah.
It's just
45.
smiles and just fun. And like by the end of it, you're just like,
That was good.
that was
like,
great. That was a fun time. Like I'm glad that I watched that.
Yeah.
And like I'm sure everybody that did watch this could probably feel the same way.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how you could walk out of this and be like, that movie sucked. You know, like if that's the case, man, you need to go get some sun.
Yeah.
Like go what's wrong? What's happening at home? Do we need to talk about
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
The man's getting you.
Yeah.
Really.
Who's this
Man's got
man
you
that
down.
we go? Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah, I love everything. I mean, first off, the soundtrack is sick.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It is so perfect. Rock.
I
All
can't
of the
tell
rock
you-
genres that we go through is sick.
Yeah, I also couldn't tell you how many like songs I discovered because of this movie.
Yeah.
Hearing Road Runner, go 1,000 miles an hour. I love that song now, and like hearing it on this movie, I was like, what? I didn't even know that this was on there. And like
Mhm.
again, hearing tons of Ramones and Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath and AC/DC,
AC/DC.
all that stuff I loved when I was a kid. That's just perfect.
Yeah, good.
Honestly,
I
I,
mean-
feel like this is a movie that anybody can watch. There's like no, like it says PG-13, but I would put this on the G-rated. Like,
Well, it's got the cursing.
yeah, but I feel like this is a movie that anybody can watch and understand what is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect levels of comedy, perfect levels of heart.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of what keeps you engaged the entire time. All the comedy for me hits,
Works.
lands all the time.
Yeah. Even the child acting,
Yeah.
I think, works
Yeah,
really
I
well.
was gonna say.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I genuinely believe these kids.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's because, like, especially Miranda Cosgrove, she's like this. She's also like this real uppity, like, I'm the manager. I'm the one who's gonna take attendance every day.
Yeah.
I hated that.
I don't know, because her role is super iconic to me, but I don't know if that's also like bolstered by iCarly and all of the other shows she's been in. That I'm just
Yeah.
like, I look at her and freaking Drake and Josh.
Mhm.
I mean, I look at Miranda Cosgrove and I'm like, wow, she is a staple.
Yeah.
But and that all just is drawing back to the School of Rock days,
Mhm.
which is
Mm.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just the. I really love the pacing.
Mhm.
The pacing, it really caught me off guard on how kind of quick it was at the beginning, but it really is like it found its footing, it found its cadence throughout, and I think that's a testament to the writing. I think the writing is spot on. I love how personal it feels to Jack Black's character.
Mhm.
Like I feel like they really wrote the role for him, especially the dialogue. He's always talking about like he's always changing words up to where it's like the you know what I'm saying? Like
He changed the last name to
Schneebley.
but
Yeah.
he has like a cadence about him that
Yeah.
it really just feels like
Like
it's
you didn't
tailored.
even care.
It's
Yeah.
tailored to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
I love it. I just love his mannerisms. I love how like expressive he is.
Yeah. Me too.
I freaking love it.
I love
Yeah.
this movie. I'm so glad I picked because I was like, I wanted a movie that I can watch and just enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And this was definitely like, I was like, I'm so glad I watched it. Like even like Nick said, and like when I finished it, I was just like, I was happy. I was just like, all right, what do I have? Like I had to come and record, but I was like, what else do I got to do? Like I don't got nothing else to do. Like the ending come at me because I left feeling so good,
Mhm.
and that's how I left feeling with this movie.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. That's
Anything
it.
else for what does work?
Absolute timeless classic
Yeah.
in my honest opinion.
Well, does it go without saying who wins the movie then?
Oh, 100%.
Who is it? I was waiting.
Principal Mullins.
Principal Mullins. No, without
Jack
a
Black.
shadow of a doubt,
100% Jack Black.
Yeah.
he absolutely owns this movie, man.
Yeah.
This
I
is
agree.
his movie. It's
Yeah.
I think of him.
Jack Black. When you think of School of Rock, I
Yeah.
think of
Yeah,
I just think of Step Off, man.
I think of him in that freaking outfit that he wears at the end, like the school clothes.
Yeah.
That's what I think of.
All right. What are some themes for this movie?
It's quite a bit, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's different things you could really take from this movie.
Yeah.
I
I'd wrote just generally believing in and expressing yourself.
Yeah,
personal
literally.
identity.
Mhm.
I said express yourself. Don't be afraid to hide yourself.
Yeah,
Mhm.
finding out what makes you you, sticking it to the man. Maybe that's some of the only times you can disrupt your life and find out who you really are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not necessarily like, I'm going to become an anarchist, but it's just like, once you break the system up and you kind of like get out of the routine of things, you're like, oh, I like this. I never knew I would have. Oh, I'm going to experience something else that I never would have thought of.
Mhm.
This was really, I really jive with this. This is part of my identity.
Yeah.
And you could really see it with these kids.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said too about like how rigid and like rule following these kids are in the beginning. And I think it's also, you know, just in every aspect of life, you have to know the rules in order to break them.
Yeah.
And like these kids are following them to the T by the beginning of this movie, and at the end of it, now they're like, okay, I know, you know, what I was supposed to be doing, but this is what I love.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm gonna make some risks and you know, maybe take some paths that might lead me down, you know, some risky roads or something like that, but it's gonna be because I love this. And you know, maybe there's something to be said there
Oh, yeah.
as well.
Yeah, and I just think Dewey as a like a model for a teacher, I think is pretty good. You know, not necessarily lying and forgoing all the other subjects, but just the amount of care and the amount of attention he pours out onto these kids in very specific areas of their lives to get them through stuff or to encourage them, to bolster them up, to be a part of something bigger, I think is inspirational. And I
Yeah.
think there's definitely like if you're especially in that role, I think it could be useful to look and see, you know, what worked. Why are the kids responding really well to him and not so much to Principal Mullen? Like I'm glad I said that because I'm thinking of the scene where she's like, it's Principal Mullins and there's a little girl and like they're talking to each other. She's like, you know, you can't do that. And the girl's like kind of shuddering and she goes, would you like a hug? And the girl
She goes,
screams.
Yeah.
She like screams and backs away and she's real scared because that principal has no warmth.
Yeah.
There's no love. I mean,
Bro, someone came up to me and yelled, would you like a hug? God, there's no way I'm hugging you.
that's what I'm saying. There's a genuine like not being like no shame, being able to be goofy. I think kids really respond well to that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So it's good.
All right. Anything else for themes here? All right. What are we rating this movie?
I'll go
Yeah.
first. I chose it. I gave it a 9.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 9 as well. Isn't that
Okay.
crazy?
I think the same.
9's all around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie. It's not to him, but it's a great
great.
movie. Everybody should watch this movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely agree.
It'll be one of the movies I show my kids.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
when they come around, and it'll be one of those things where I'm gonna be like, dude, I love this movie as a kid. I want to show it to you, and hopefully afterwards my kids are being like Jack Black and scatting, you know, guitar solos and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's the life right there.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the end of the episode, you guys. So if you stuck all the way to the end, we appreciate you. If you're watching on YouTube, leave us a like, comment on the videos, subscribe to the channel. We've noticed a nice little influx in subscribers, which has been really nice. So if you're watching and you haven't subscribed yet, do so. It really does help us out, and it lets us know that there are people out there that are continuing to come back and watch. And then liking and commenting also helps out too. You know, that also lets us know that you're liking what we're doing, or, you know, if there's something that we need to change up, and commenting lets you get in on the conversation as well,
Mhm.
and lets us know that you're either liking it, not liking it, something we can change, or, you know, just giving us, you know, props or maybe something we missed or anything of that sort. So we appreciate it for you guys interacting with the content as well as not just watching it. If you're listening on the audio platforms, the podcast platforms, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Google, you can also leave us rate and reviews. that lets us know exactly what you're thinking as well, and also, gives people the option to kind of look at our ratings and know, like, okay, there's something here that I might want to check out based on the ratings or something like that. And we'd appreciate it if you guys did that as well. If you are wanting to get in contact with us on a not so public platform, you can click into our episode descriptions and see that we have our email listed, as well as Instagram accounts, Letterboxd accounts. So if you want to reach out in a more private way, and you don't want to be public or anything like that, you can reach out there. And also follow those platforms, and you'll be able to keep up with us and know what we're doing on all those platforms as well. So I think that's about it.
Yeah.
As always, we're going to release the next pick for next week, which is going to be my pick.
What have you
Your
got for
pick.
us?
And I'm excited because I've only watched this movie once, and it was in theaters when I watched it, and I left being like, that movie was awesome. And I loved it, and I'm lucky enough to own it now, which is awesome. And it is currently streaming on Paramount Plus or Prime, I think.
It was Prime.
I think it was Prime. But it is Jordan Peele's latest film, Nope.
I'm actually so excited because this is the only one that I haven't seen from his collection.
This movie's awesome.
This movie is sick.
I love Nope. And there's so many things that we can talk about, I think, with this movie, whether that be like what we think the shoe means, or like just how the monster looks and how the alien survives and how it eats, and like the actual like terror that it induces in certain scenes and all this other stuff. It's such a good watch, and
This is such a sick movie, theater experience too.
Yeah, I've loved every second of it, and I think it'll be nice too to go back to it knowing that like we experienced going to Jupiterland.
Yeah, Jupiter's Claim.
Yeah, Jupiter's Claim, and like being able to actually see that in person and being like, whoa, dude, like we're straight up on the set of Nope right now. And like I got to walk through Jupiter's Claim and see the star lasso experience and all that stuff. Like, so sick. So
Very excited for that.
yeah, I'm excited to rewatch it and kind of dive in a little bit and see what you guys also thought about the movie.
Yeah.
So tune in next week to hear what we have to say about Nope. As always, this has been the Film Bros Podcast. Thank you and good night.
Good night.
Good night.